Hey, hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Strategic Mind Blitzkrieg. Let's continue here. We're first of all just gonna go for the HQ skills. Now, I was thinking about taking tank infantry support for the next mission because we'll be going up against Dunkirk, which has a lot of house-to-house fighting, and if I want to actually make use of my tanks, I might actually do this. It allows them to not get a defensive penalty for close quarters if allied infantry is in the adjacent hex, which makes them significantly more useful than if they weren't, as you can also see on this here video. It costs 400, but I think it will be worth it. So let's just purchase this. And I think that whenever we have any close quarters combat, that's going to be exceptionally useful. So there we go. Besides that, interesting that we have units here this time, but okay. Let's first upgrade these guys if we can. I guess we could. This Panzerbefehlswagen 3E gives me one more hard defense. Right, whatever. That's fine, that's good enough. You leveled up, so you get to do mobile. And I get to upgrade the BF109E, seemingly. E1 to E3, that's pretty decent. Let's do that. Then I want to make sure that they all have the highest possible unit strength, so I am going to... These are still not even at 1 star of experience. Experience is a lot slower now, so that probably has a large effect. And I still don't have those traits that allow my units to start with 1 or 2 stars of experience. And it also immediately ramps up all your other units that didn't have before. So that's pretty neat to have, but I just lack the points. But maybe soon, maybe soon. Anyway, we have 2137 left. Currently, I think I might actually want to get another infantry. Well, let's actually take a look at the heroes first. So, apparently I can assign this guy in the tactical bomber. I think that's why it has this ticked off, because I meet criteria. That's actually very nice. I'm happy that they actually have this now. He can only be put in tactical bombers, so let's assign him. And then I guess Devastating Fire is probably the best thing to have, even at 1 star. Like, all weather is nice, but yeah, oh, almost did scouting. Double attack is just generally better. And then we also have this hero, which can serve in infantry. So let's take it to one of the pioneers. Let's actually read out loud what that is. So, for Hans Ulrich Rudel, dealing more damage to the enemy than half the European armies combined. Few men can boast such an achievement, and Hans Ulrich Rudel was one such individual. He was the only man ever awarded a full Knight's Cross with golden oak leaves, swords, and diamonds. He was the only foreigner to earn the Hungarian Gold Medal of Bravery. Rudel went on more combat flights than any other World War II pilot, 2,530. During these, he destroyed close to 2,000 enemy vehicles, including 519 tanks, 800 automobiles, 150 units of artillery, 70 landing crafts, 9 planes, 4 armored trains, several bridges, a cruiser, the destroyer Minsk, I guess. He'd also severely damaged the battleship Marat, dealing such damage the vessel had never sailed again. Hans Ulrich's aircraft of choice were the Junkers 87 Stuka and Focke-Wulf 190. Besides land targets, he shot down 2 IL-2 ground attack planes, 7 fighters. Rudolf himself had been shot down 32 times, and always by ground-based flak fire, and sustained multiple severe injuries over the war's course. Once a shot from a flak cannon blew off his right leg, but even as an amputee, he'd eventually rejoin the fight. Once Rudolf had to make a landing by the enemy lines to help the crew of downed comrades. The landscape prevented him from taking to the skies again, so he and the rest of the survivors had to cross the enemy territory on foot and then swim across the icy Dnieper. He ended up being the only one to reach the German positions. Hans Ulrich survived the war and emigrated to Argentina. He remained a staunch National Socialist until his death, and even created an organization helping form military personnel accused of war crimes. He maintained connections with many Latin American political leaders after the war. And then Rudolf Witzig. Rudolf Witzig's finest hour was the assault on the impregnable Fort Ibn Amal, garrisoned by 1,200 soldiers with a large number of machine guns and artillery. The fortress was a veritable engineering miracle at the time, impervious to bombardment due to its thick walls and blast doors. The German paratroopers landed directly on the front's premises, using the element of surprise to its full extent, then swiftly destroyed most firing positions and drove the garrison into the casemates, and sealing them inside, collapsing the fort's hallways with explosives. Witzig himself was in command of the assault group Granite. They landed an hour later than intended due to their glider's malfunction, but managed to complete their objectives nonetheless. Such was their skill and competence. Rudolf Witzig got a Knight's Cross for capturing the Ibn Amal. He went on to participate in Operation Mercury and sustained a heavy injury, but was later appointed the commander of a parachute engineer battalion. Witzig continued to display great leadership skills, taking his unit to the Tunisian campaign. His exploits there earned him the prestigious German Cross in gold. After North Africa, he saw action on the Eastern Front, but transferred to the West in December 1944. His entire unit surrendered to the Allied troops on May 8, 1945. Like many German World War II veterans after the war, Witzig served in the newly formed Bundeswehr. Alright, so let's level him up. And let's see, +2 to camouflage. Nah, definitely going again for devastating fire. And I guess overrun. I mean, if I take assaulter, I don't need flamethrower. Gains +4 attack versus the enemy located in a building during an attack. Yeah, this is assaulter is, I guess, arguably better than overrun. I mean, overrun is definitely a third at that point. But that will help severely. So those are the 2 heroes that we can get. The other ones, not yet. So we'll just have to keep on going until they become available. I can't really see currently what I need to do. 100 damage to fighters and tactical bombers. Okay. I don't have anti-tank at the moment. Right. Let's just go back to the units here. So I think I do want a 4th fighter to get to 4. And for the next mission, I think I do want to get another Junkers 88. Because I'm going to have to deal with naval combat. They're very expensive, but they're the best when it comes to naval. 11 naval attack. Yeah. So bam bam. And it gives us 737. I think I want to get another artillery. And another infantry. Now, I need to take a look as to this 120. Not all of them need to be sappers. I don't expect there to be a lot of mines in this mission. Maybe I'll just give them some mortars. And that's not too bad. At least they also get +1 soft attack, so. There we go, we have 116 left, so I guess outfitting that artillery will be fine. And I think then we're good to go. Let's see what these guys have to say.
Be careful. City houses make excellent ambush opportunities. The buildings will protect the enemy while our troops will be out in the open. This is where the flamethrowers will come in handy. No enemy will stay in cover that's filling up with smoke and burning fluid.
Yeah, we'll see how that special ability plays out here.
This is an outrage. We could have finished the British off in one fell swoop if we used the armored core. My tanks would have rolled all over the Tommies on that damned beach. Instead, we waste time on pointless and costly air raids, all while the enemy is mustering an evacuation fleet.
The English Channel is under guard by the British destroyers. These small and mobile ships are designed to protect bigger ships by countering submarines and aircraft. To that end, they have sonar, torpedoes, depth chargers, and powerful anti-aircraft cannons. We must be careful around these ships. They are capable of shredding any U-boats they detect.
Then maybe send any of your big vessels. I mean, you're gonna send them in the next mission anyway, so.
The best way to fight the British infantry is to avoid any land engagement at all. If we can sink their transports at sea, we'll save a lot of time and manpower. However, first we'll have to deal with the enemy escorts as well as their fighter aircraft. Only then should our bombers and submarines begin the decisive engagement of the enemy.
I mean, I guess. Anyway, Dunkirk it is.
My tanks and troops have been forced to be idle for the last 2 days. We could have made a decisive attack and forced the French and British troops to surrender. How long will we be sitting here doing nothing?
I agree, Heinz. We could have finished off the encircled enemy troops were it not for the Führer's order forbidding any attack. I am completely at a loss as to why he would issue such an order.
If there are no new orders by tomorrow, mark my word, I will seize the initiative and act on my own. In the end, the main factor of our recent success in France is that we did not ask the High Command for each and every step.
Hold on, Guderian. Maybe we lack some important information. There must be a reason for Halder's lack of action. I will fly to Berlin and probe the situation. I will talk to Halder and try to convince him to issue an order to attack. I will contact you again today.
I'm no less angry than our field commanders about this delay, Rommel. The plan of further offensive lies on Hitler's table and must be acted upon. Yet the Führer is silent. No confirmation up to now.
We offered them a peace treaty, but those wretched Brits have refused to sign it. They have ruined all of my plans, and we wasted very valuable time. Well, they have issued a death sentence to their soldiers themselves. Halder, I order you to immediately change your plan of attack so that the Luftwaffe will have a major role. We cannot allow the British Expeditionary Corps to escape from France.
I can assure you, my Führer, that we will crush the enemy air force and not allow the transport ships with troops to reach Britain. The goal of our Luftwaffe is to establish air superiority, first over the English Channel, and then over the whole of Britain.
Excellent. Halder, I order you to proceed with the offensive immediately. I will not allow you to stall the offensive for a single day more.
Finally.
The British expeditionary forces have been driven towards the sea near Dunkirk. They're trapped along with part of the French army. The time has come to finish them off. The enemy is still holding several key coastal positions: Newport, Burgess, Bolzel, Vatten, Dravelin, Lefrancourt, the railway station, the main port, and the ferry terminal of Dunkirk. Without a doubt, we'll soon control these key points. But that's not enough. The Fuhrer demands that the entire British Expeditionary Corps is eliminated.
According to my intelligence network, Churchill has decided to evacuate the British forces. The British Admiralty has come up with a plan of action dubbed Operation Dynamo. Our agents in the United Kingdom report a mass mobilization of vessels of all types. The evacuation is evidently due to begin in the coming days.
We must not let the British escape. Admiral Dunitz, are our naval forces able to blockade Dunkirk?
This region is off limits to our ships. The threat of the Royal Navy is too great. However, I've dispatched several submarines to Dunkirk.
That will have to suffice. The British presence on the shore must be eradicated. The bulk of this operation will obviously fall on our ground forces.
The 19th Army Corps is poised to storm Dunkirk. But the Fuhrer has prohibited the use of our tank forces. What is this mockery?
Our brilliant Fuhrer is sure the tanks won't be necessary, and I wholeheartedly agree. The Luftwaffe holds air superiority over Dunkirk. They will be more than sufficient to disrupt the evacuation and eliminate British ground forces. Leave Dunkirk to our pilots.
Reichsmarschall Goering, you overestimate the Luftwaffe. I'm sure the Fuhrer will soon reverse his decision. Meanwhile, we'll have to assault Dunkirk without the tank support.
I guess we will. So let's deploy our units first. Let's start with the air forces. I want most of the air forces as close to the water as possible because I think that is exactly where they'll be needed. I'll be using at the very least 3 fighters in that area, and
The British Expeditionary Force, the men with,
According,
we must, this, that will,
The 9th
are brilliant, right? The British, the men with, we, the, are right. The British Expeditionary Forces have been driven towards the sea near Dunkirk. They're trapped along with part of the French army. The time has come to finish them off. The enemy is still holding several key coastal positions: Newport, Burgess, Bolzel, Vatten, Dravelin, Lefrancourt, the railway station, the main port, and the ferry terminal of Dunkirk. Without a doubt, we'll soon control these key points. But that's not enough. The Fuhrer demands that the entire British Expeditionary Corps is eliminated.
according to my intelligence network, Churchill has decided to evacuate the British forces. The British Admiralty has come up with a plan of action dubbed Operation Dynamo. Our agents in the United Kingdom report a mass mobilization of vessels of all types. The evacuation is evidently due to begin in the coming days.
We must not let the British escape. Admiral Dunitz, are our naval forces able to blockade Dunkirk?
This region is off limits to our ships. The threat of the Royal Navy is too great. However, I've dispatched several submarines to Dunkirk.
That will have to suffice. The British presence on the shore must be eradicated. The bulk of this operation will obviously fall on our ground forces.
The 19th Army Corps is poised to storm Dunkirk, but the Fuhrer has prohibited the use of our tank forces. What is this mockery?
Our brilliant Fuhrer is sure the tanks won't be necessary, and I wholeheartedly agree. The Luftwaffe holds air superiority over Dunkirk. They will be more than sufficient to disrupt the evacuation and eliminate British ground forces. Leave Dunkirk to our pilots.
Reichsmarschall Goering, you overestimate the Luftwaffe. I'm sure the Fuhrer will soon reverse his decision. Meanwhile, we'll have to assault Dunkirk without the tank support.
I guess we will. So let's deploy the air forces first. I want to deploy the air forces as close to the coast as possible, or at least a lot of them, because that's where I'll be needing them in order to provide naval superiority, I suppose. But I'm gonna keep the Junkers over in this area because that's probably needing those guys. I need at least a bit of support for them, so let's deploy that here. So now I'm gonna be splitting my force into two parts. Basically one group, I guess, over here will be moving towards the Grand Port. And then I also have one deploying here, which will try to move towards the ferry port, which will basically prevent the rest of the units from escaping, I guess. That's the plan. Yeah, I guess so. Can I deploy you? Yes, I can. Okay. Cannot deploy any of the other ones, obviously. Okay. Let's take a look though. This is just a regular guy. So for both sides, I want one full 12-string Pioneer, one of the weaker ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's okay. I'm probably gonna do double attack anyway. And then on this side, I also want 2 artillery, Pioneers. Let's have, let's see, yeah, that way you can go into Dunkirk. I'll have to flak over here because it's probably useful to try to get it over to that side. And then the recon. Sure. Alright. Luckily we don't have that many tanks. I guess. Let's get started. So they do have a unit there. Let's move in that general direction. Hopefully, indeed, this way they won't see these guys. Rain does make things a little bit more complicated. That's fine if they don't land immediately. That doesn't cost anything at this point, so might just as well send these guys over here. And then start moving up north. I want to keep at least 20 available for the next turn. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, That way I don't miss out on damage while the weather is actually good. Wow, I did not expect them to retreat already. Alright, that's fine. That way I can move in a little bit further, but I can't expose myself too crazily, like all the way in there. Alright, let's just take a look. I'm not a big fan of moving by truck here. So I could go in here. Doesn't seem to reveal a whole lot. I do have an artillery here as well. Okay. Choose a double attack, keep moving. Puts me at 26, so I still have one additional attack here. Guess they could move in there. Probably I will deal more damage by attacking those. Okay, so you guys should be going after that dingo, I guess. I mean, this is also annoying, but that thing gives him too much vision. So I don't expect the enemy to be too aggressive. Let's see, I want to get over to that position. Let's move you over in here. Get these guys rolling. Can't do anything about those guys. But there's nothing that's gonna be able to move in there. That should just move ahead. There's no reason to delay. Except with the recon, especially if they're gonna go in here or something. Don't like this though. Especially since it doesn't seem to be a whole lot that can be attacked there. So what that does, I think at least, is it should cause some hull damage. And then I'm out of here. I guess. Alright, so moving those guys there, and that should be it for the first turn. So they're attacking this then, right? Yeah. That's no good. So they are counterattacking. These guys are dumb. Yep.
According to our intelligence group, the enemy has begun to evacuate. The first ships loaded with British troops are on their way to Dover. Enemy fighters and destroyers have secured the evacuation area. Sinking the British transports will now be a challenge.
In that case, we must strip the enemy of their air and naval support. This will make our primary objective of preventing the enemy troops' escape to Britain much easier.
The British armored units are on the move from Dunkirk, headed south. Be wary. The enemy seems to be attempting a counteroffensive.
A desperate gesture, hardly enough to stop the Wehrmacht.
The Luftwaffe is facing unexpected major anti-air resistance at Dunkirk. I am recalling my pilots before they are all shot down.
Damn Goering! He personally promised me to destroy the British Expeditionary Force from the sky, and now his planes are returning to their bases. Halda, I'm giving you carte blanche on the Dunkirk situation. Do not let the enemy escape.
It seems the time has finally come to use our tanks.
I'm a bit surprised he's not sighing more. Well, it was to be expected already. So we have destroy the escort ships and destroy fighter aircraft and repel the British counterattack. That's additional goals now. Let's deploy the Char over here against the British heavy tanks. Same like these, and then we'll have the Panzer 4D over here against these guys. So yeah, let's start over here. So these guys are in a pretty bad spot against my infantry now. Attacking across the river is not ideal. Since these guys are not likely attacking anything else anyway. There we go. I'll try to use as many points as possible this turn as well. Okay. So they have some unit there. I mean, I will always have to move artillery by truck that way. I'll just move you in there for now. Huh. Alright. At least they can level up. Guess deadly is probably good for these guys. Sure. So they're demoralized and fleeing. Now moving there. These guys are very powerful and they have terrain expert, so they have a lot of defense. 16. They should be fine. I think that will allow me at least also to move further north here. This way. So I cannot repair these guys here. Nor can I effectively attack with them. Problem is I can't really move up. With that extra ability, I can actually use my tanks in the close terrain. So it's actually very handy for this mission already. That's quite nice. And if you have the points rate, I would highly recommend getting those already as well. So going all the way around is not super great, but I don't have any artillery backup anymore. Right, let's just move on top here. Try to go around a bit. But still it's a pretty decent position. So we can attack their next turn. So yeah, I don't mind doing that. The enemy should not be able to see that, I think. You. Let's go in the city. Wasn't I moving my 88s here somewhere? Yeah. Alright, so let's get you over here. These guys are mutually supporting. That's an anti-tank gun. Not anymore. Someone with devastating fire, so I can use him twice to destroy that. I kind of want to destroy the counterattack and then we'll see where we're going to send these guys, but I think getting rid of the counteroffensive is going to be quite important. Probably not just something we can do without these Stukas. Like I can get rid of these guys because of the infantry and the vulnerable position that these guys are in currently. I have another artillery in there. Next turn it's gonna be night though. Okay, you have no good shot against them. Gonna have to do it like this then. That way. Could still do another attack like that. Move in here. Oh. Use double attack. Move into that hex. Go in here. Now they're at 1. So if I use another double attack, they'll be gotten rid of. Or at least close to. That I can just as well do that. Let's get you in here for now. These guys are too powerful anyway. Can still lower their entrenchments a little bit. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Try to destroy those barricades here. To make it a bit easier to enter through this area. Even though there's a river there, I think that's altogether still quite effective. Okay, so I still have these naval units. They're actually still at 10, so it's interesting that my units did not deal any damage last time. Even though they attacked. Maybe they repaired. No, they didn't use any emergency repair. There's some hull damage now, though. At least with 2 shell holes on their turn, it's gonna go to 5. Its movement points will are also gonna go down, so that helps. That should also reduce its naval defense in general. Now, I don't think I can go there because of Dunkirk. But I will get out of this thing's way. So it will have a hard time detecting my units as well. And then I guess I'm gonna send these guys out a bit. This way, both of them technically have 2 fighter escorts in a way. I mean, with the next turn being night, that's still not ideal, but there is not anything I can do against that. Also, I'm taking a completely different entry point than I did before. That's a bit silly. Two, three, 4. Let's see what these guys are up to. They probably don't have such great movement yet. I guess except for the Daimler. So only one of them gets to attack. And at least I still snooped off 1 damage. Okay, so there's a destroyer there. It's a bit unfortunate because it's gonna wail at my air unit here. Both lethal damage as well. Alright, that's it for now though. I'm gonna end the video here. I want to thank you for watching. Do hope you enjoyed the first part here. And I will see you all for the next one. Take care. See you then. Bye bye.